Gospel according to John. There was a wedding in Cana in Galilee, and the mother of Jesus was there. Jesus and his disciples had likewise been invited to the celebration. At a certain point, the wine ran out, and Jesus' mother told him, "They have no more wine." Jesus replied, "Woman, how does this concern of yours involve me? My hour has not yet come." His mother instructed those waiting at the table, "Do whatever he tells you." As prescribed for Jewish ceremonial washings, there were at hand 6 stone water jars, each one holding 15 to 25 gallons. "Fill those jars with water," Jesus ordered, at which they filled them to the brim. Now he said, "Draw some out and take it to the waiter in charge." They did as he instructed them. The waiter in charge tasted the water-made wine without knowing where it had come from. Only the waiters knew, since they had drawn the water. Then the waiter in charge called the groom over and remarked to him, "People usually serve the choice wine first. Then, when the guests have been drinking a while, a lesser vintage. What you have done is keep the choice wine until now." Jesus performed this first of his signs in Cana in Galilee. Thus did he reveal his glory, and his disciples believed in him. After this he went down to Capernaum, along with his mother and brothers and his disciples. But they stayed there only a few days. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to the Lord Jesus Christ. Solemn moment for all of us. You know Ray and Lori. The readings certainly in some way emphasize the solemnity of it. If we could in some way appreciate what it is that the letter of Paul to the Romans begs us to do, begs us not to conform ourselves to this age. If we can appreciate the intensity of Paul's begging in his request. In a sense, he begs in a very special way this day. Ray and Laurie, he begs them not to conform themselves to this age, because at a moment like this, a celebration that is a wedding, it is so easy for it to become empty pretense. It is so easy for not only a wedding to be empty pretense, but it is so easy for marriage to end up some sort of a sham sense, every bit the empty pretense that Paul would hope we would avoid. We will find ourselves avoiding empty pretense when we realize that these very solemn words that are about to be spoken between Ray and Laurie, words that are the vows of their marriage, words that express their understanding of what they are about to undertake, are something that we are not capable of living out on our own. When the priest asked a couple, "You come here freely and without reservation to give yourselves to each other in marriage. Will you love and honor each other as husband and wife for the rest of your lives? Will you accept children lovingly from God and bring up according to the law of Christ and his church?" Those questions are always asked with the understanding that on our own we cannot make those yeses remain yeses. It is on a day like this that we are reminded in a very special way that if we are not to be conformed to this age, we must rely upon the strength that comes from God to make good on the vows that we are about to witness exchanged before us. There is something else that also certainly adds to the solemnity of it. It is realizing that we will never conform to this age do. When we are people that listen to him, then there is little chance of empty pretense in the way we live out our lives in whatever form they undertake. There's a quote from Julian of Norwich that has some bearing in all of this also, that maybe in some way would help us appreciate what it is that we celebrate. Julian of Norwich made the observation that there is no greater honor we can give to Almighty God than to live gladly with the knowledge of his love. To live gladly. To be a people who have something to celebrate. A wedding obviously is a celebration, but the intensity of that celebration, the depth to which it touches our lives, will always be affected by our faith. Our faith in a miracle that is meant to be repeated throughout our lives. We hear in today's gospel this account of water made wine. On a wedding day, we are especially conscious of the fact that as a bride and groom approach the altar to exchange their vows, they each bring very special gifts. Gifts that are in a sense water. Gifts that they would hope become wine as they are joined with the love that they find in the spouse they are about to embrace. That idea, being able to recognize that in some way all of us are water that is meant to be transformed into wine, that we are meant in some way to become, in a very special way, filled with the power of the Spirit that makes those gifts something that are not just for our own benefit, but for the good of the lives that we share. Julian of Norwich's observation is something that can be rephrased using the words of the head waiter, the waiter in charge, because he presents an idea here that certainly would be our prayer and our wish in a very special way for this couple before us. We would hope that as they learn the power of the Spirit that transforms water into wine, as they see it touch their lives throughout their married life, that at whatever stage they find themselves in marriage, whatever anniversary, however many years they are allowed to live wedded life together, that someone will always be able to recognize that the words of that head waiter apply in a very special way to them. What you have done is saved the choice wine until now. This celebration is one thing. It is the beginning of something, though, much more remarkable. It is the beginning of something that is going to allow them to appreciate a richer, full understanding and experience of love as the years go on, if they put their hands in the hands of Christ. And then the words of Julian of Norwich in some way would reflect the words of the head waiter. There is no greater honor that you can give to Almighty God than to live in such a way so that you can look back on your life and always be able to say that you have saved the choice wine for now.